You have a learning goal, and we have just one job to help you achieve it and deliver at your convenience. Learning right starts with us at Ashem Academy. We are a learning institute in partnership with professional industry bodies like Microsoft, PECB, Pearson VUE, and PSI, delivering quality training, ensuring your certification path in the respective industries. Ashem Academy has training specialists with extensive consulting experience as well as the expertise to address your specific needs and preferences. Our goal is to deliver training that maximizes return on people and infrastructure investments. We define success as having the right resources to skill you up to help you meet your desired goals. Our job at Ashem Academy is to empower you to be successful at every stage of the learning journey, from training to certification to establishing professional credibility. As a certified learning partner and authorized testing center, our facility has proven to be one of the best in the country as we get to reach the needs of all ages, young, middle-aged, and those in the advancing years, making learning simple and affordable. We care about your skill development, and without breaking the bank, we present you with great opportunities to showcase your competency and expertise in your area of specialty, aiding career advancement or personal goals tracking. Let's help you bridge that learning gap. All you have to do is take the next step to enroll in our courses today with prices that are easy on your wallets. Request access to our training calendar by emailing training@ashem.com, and you can also get the most of your learning investment by checking out our promotional offers here. offers.ashem.com/ms learning. You can call 0704 636 7151 or call 0704 576 9927. You can visit our head office at number 9 Ibikunle Street off Abad Macaulay Way, Yaba, Lagos State.
Hello, welcome to another session of Azure Developer Study Series. And if you are joining us for the first time, this is a continuation of our Azure Developer Study Series. This has been going on for a couple of weeks now. And today, we have an amazing speaker. She's not new to the house. She's a friend of the house. She has been part of our previous study series as a moderator and also a speaker. And I am delighted to welcome you to this session. Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Roland. Good day.
How are you doing? How's your
Um,
week been?
it's been great.
So are
Yeah,
you excited to be here today?
sure, I am.
Okay. What do you have for us?
Nothing really much, just for us to discuss about securing our Azure solutions, cloud solutions.
Okay, thank you. So I believe today is going to be educative and enlightening session. So I'll leave the center stage to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi guys, how are we doing today? Thank you for showing up for another session of our study series on AZ204. So today I would like to take you on a journey regarding Azure, securing our Azure solution. Um, so I will currently be sharing my slide. Kindly let me know if my slide is showing up. I'll be sharing my screen. Okay, I believe my screen is sharing. Roland, could you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, once again, guys, welcome to this topic. We're going to go straight to the point. Our focus, our agenda of today is about implementing secured cloud solution. So, if you ever wondered how you can secure your digital identity, today's topic is going to just give you like a clue of how you can actually secure your digital identity on. So here we go. Agenda today is going to be about implementing key vaults, Azure Key Vaults, and as well as implementing manager identity and Azure App Configuration. I promise it's going to be a brief one. Thank you, guys. So at the end of this class, sorry, at the end of the session, we should be able to have knowledge about an insight to why we really should use an Azure Key Vault and the importance of using Azure Key Vault. And probably before the end of the class, we should just practicalize creating Azure Key Vault via the CLI. You might be wondering what is Azure Key Vault and all of that, and why should we really use an Azure Key Vault? So Azure Key Vault is a cloud services for securing and storing and accessing secrets. So um, most companies stores uses Azure Key Vault to store their secrets, to store their password. You can use Azure Key Vault to store your secret. You can actually use it to store your certificates. You can use it to store your cryptographical keys. So this is what Azure Key Vault is usually used for. Um, You could actually ask, why do we need an Azure Key Vault? Like, what's the use of it? What's the essence of us using Azure Key Vault? Can't we just save our keys? Like, you save our key with a third party too? Or why is it important we should use Azure Key? Yeah, there are other third party tools which you can use. You can save your keys and all of that, like passwordless. But you're already in Azure, and Azure gives you this great benefit of you using the key vault, because you're using the key vault. You can use it to authenticate. Why you have like an Azure AD? You're using an Azure AD. You can easily authenticate with Azure Key Vault. You can use Azure Key Vault to stores your keys. So you having to use it on using Azure Key Vault, it's more beneficial than it helps you to integrate your resources. You can integrate Azure Key Vault with virtual machine, app service, and all of app service, DevOps, and all of that. AKS, and all of that with Azure Key Vault. So we're going to like give reasons why we should use Azure Key Vault. So the reason why we should actually use an Azure Key Vault is that Azure Key Vault help to manage our secrets. The secret we kind of have in Azure, when we create the key vault, we stored our secret. So it's like a centralized place in storing our the key vault gives us that centralized place to store our keys. And equally, it gives you this opportunity to kind of manage your keys with Azure Key Vault, irrespective of the subscription, different subscription you could have. You can easily manage, or different resources you could use using your um, using Azure Key Vault. You can seamlessly use Azure Key Vault to manage your keys. And equally, it's a great platform for you to kind of manage your certificates. So, what are the benefits of using Azure Key Vault? The benefits of us using an Azure Key Vault is that with Azure Key Vault, you know that, oh, you kind of your keys are kind of secured. For example, sometimes when a developer is trying to code, sometimes they kind of hard code, they kind of have hard code their code and all of that. Sometimes the best practices is for us to like we don't really like put the key there. Like we don't really like put the password in a plain text. We can actually use Key Vault to store our keys, and we can call it from the Key Vault and use the key where necessary, where we will need to make use of the keys. So the benefit of us using an Azure Key Vault is that it centralizes our application secret. So you can, with your Azure Key Vault, you can easily kind of fetch your secrets anytime, any minute, any second, anytime you want to get your secrets. And again, it kind of helps us to monitor and it helps in monitoring activities. You can your keyboard enables you to log in and also monitor your activities, and it quality give you like a simplified administration. You can easily manage this keyboard. Actually, you can manage it with Arabic as well. So you can actually give a developer or a member of your team, like a member of your team can have a different key they use. You can rotate the key and all of that. As we go further in this session, we're going to like know much about Azure Key Vault. So in terms of Key Vault, we have like two types of container. We have like Vault and Manage Hardware Security, which is called HSM pool. So Azure Key Vaults, we have two types of service tier. In terms of Azure Key Vault, we have standard, which is encrypted with soft key, and we equally have like premium. So whenever you tend to like, you need to remember the service tier we have in Azure Key Vault is standard and premium. So the ways where we can configure Azure Key Vault is like you having to archive your storage account, storing like an event hub, and as well as like sending logs to Azure to monitor your logs, sending the logs to Azure and to monitor your logs. So, in terms of simplicity, the process of meeting all this requirement we've talked about is with Azure Key Vault, you can remove the need for in-house knowledge of hardware security. You don't need to find a specialized person um, that have any knowledge regarding hardware security. Once you're just using Azure Key Vault, you're kind of like you go to go, you've removed that layer of you looking for a specialized person. An expert is somebody that's kind of has an expert with hardware security model. With Azure Key Vault, you can easily scale up with no issue. With just the twinkle of an eye, you can actually scale up using your Azure Key Vaults. And also, you can easily manage your Azure Key Vault via the Azure Portal, by the Azure CLI, by the PowerShell. So let's go in further. So we have some best practices or ways we can actually try to authenticate with Azure Key Vault. We have three ways. We can use manage identity. Excuse me. We can use service principal and certificate, and we can even use service principal and secrets. These are the ways you can manage your Azure Key Vault. So in terms of in terms of manage identity for Azure resources, you can easily assign identity to other Azure resources. Like automatically we can rotate the principal clients of the secret, and with identity, we can recommend the approach as best practices. Sometimes when you create a secret, you can easily rotate that secret. When once you feel that, oh, you've created the secret for a long time, or probably it's you're kind of feeling it's time for you to kind of rotate it for more to for you to have more secured secret. You can actually rotate your secrets. In terms of service principle and certificate, usually Microsoft does not recommend the approach again. Why? Because the owner or the developer must rotate the certificate. So the owner or the developer, since the owner or the developer must rotate the certificate, it's not something that is kind of recommended at the moment. We have the last one, which is service principle and secrets. So in terms of service principle and secrets, we use service simple to automatically rotate our bootstrap secrets to authenticate our keys, to authenticate our key vote. So the main thing the one we should focus more on is manage identity for Azure resources. So the resources you kind of create, you can easily kind of assign an identity, and you can use your secrets to manage your resources. Let's kind of check best practices of using our Azure Key Vault. So the best practices, one of the best practices that we should use secret key votes. So it's recommended that we use like a key vote per application environment. For example, if you have like a test environment, create a key vote that you can use that is basically for a test environment. When you have like a staging environment or dev environment, you can have a secret for that. You can have a keyword for that. When you have like a production environment, you can actually so like the tree depending on the kind of environment you're using, don't use one keyword for all your environments. It's advisable we use different keywords for uh, our environments. So in terms of control access to your keywords, we should always try to like control the access to the keywords because it's kind of sensitive and business critical. We can actually in terms of you controlling access, you cannot just like give key vote to anybody. The person that needs the key vote or the identity that need the key votes should actually really need the key vote, not just you kind of giving the key vote um, to anybody. And we can actually like have a backup of our key vote, or it's advisable. The best practices for us is that we should always create a backup of our keyboard. So in terms of if we have like in terms of we mistakenly accidentally delete our keyboards, we can happily kind of go back to the backup we have. So logging to in terms of logging, we need to like put an alert to our login. When we log into our keywords, there should be an alert. There should be an alert to alert us. Okay, uh, we've logged in so and so. An alert to just monitor our login. Our login. And so it's very vital for us to kind of implement a recovery option with our keywords because we can accidentally delete the keyword. What happens when we accidentally delete the keyword? So to avoid any issues or losing vital information, it's the best practices for us to like have a recovery option. Okay, if this keyword is being deleted, at least we should specify like a length of time that we should be able to retrieve this key vault. You could specify like 90 days, 30 days, at least minimum of 90 days for you to be able to retrieve your key. At least when the key is deleted, a minimum of nine, specify like if when you're creating your key vault, you could specify like retention policy. When this key is deleted, you can easily retain the key. Like, you can easily get back the key, recover your key once it's deleted. So we can actually use like 90 days recovery option. We can just like use 90 days. When our key delete, let it go like soft, let it go into soft delete. Once any resources or any stuff that is in soft delete, the grace of the period of it being in soft delete, if we want to kind of um, recover back this deleted resources, we can actually recover it back based on the retention policy we have put there. So we can actually use to securely kind of the best to secure our secret. It's best we kind of use recovery policy, recovery option. So one of the best practices we have discussed so far here is that we should use separate key vaults. We should equally control access to our key vaults, in the sense that you not expect to like just give anybody the key vault. For example, if you have an intern and just you and the intern doesn't really like need a key vote, you are not expect to give the intern a key vote just because it's a member of your team. So we should like actually control our access. And for example, in terms of controlling our access, let's say for example, a member of your team has left your team, you can actually go back and kind of remove remove the key. You can actually remove your the member of your team that left your team from using the key vault. You can just remove his or her access. So in terms of logging, you have to monitor who logs in at what time, if it's possible, like where did the person log in and all of that. And as lastly, recovery option, very vital. Recovery option should be there so that whenever we accidentally delete, we can actually kind of recover our key votes if we want to delete it mistakenly. So let's put this best practices in mind. There are ways to kind of obtain a service principle, which is system managed identity for the application. So if you're using a managed identity, you need to like, so when you're using like a managed identity, all you need to do, you can just like register your application with the tenant, tenant. Sorry about my pronunciation. So we're going to go through how to authenticate to Azure Key Vault. There are different ways we can kind of authenticate with our Azure Key Vault. For easy and seamless authentication process, we can authenticate with Azure Key Vault with the same code. You can actually use like .NET, you can use Python, you can use Java, you can use JavaScript. Also, we equally have REST. So you can actually use REST. So we have two major parts. You authenticate via your application code. You can equally authenticate you can equally authenticate with REST. So these are the two methods of you using your authentication. So you can authenticate based on what you're using. If it's .NET you're using, if you're coding with Python or Java or JS, you can authenticate with your application, or you can use your REST API. So quickly we're going to like go into the portal to kind of create like a key vote. Let's just like get our hands dirty on how to create a key vote. So if you have with me and you have like your Azure portal, you can log into your Azure portal. So first of all, we're going to use creating of a keyword via the portal and using via the CLI. So all you need to do is to go to your search box and type keywords. So you're going to go to the click on your create. Pick your just pick your subscription and pick your existing resource group, or you can actually create a resource group. I believe we all know how to create a resource group. All we need to do is just to click create here. When you click create, just put the name of the resource group and that is all. But for me, I kind of create one already, so I will be using that. For the name, what name would you like to call your keywords? So I just gave it secure key and I would just like to create my keywords in West Europe. Pricing tier, we're just going to leave it to standard pricing tier. Remember, we were talking about the tier we have standard and we have premium. So we're going to go with the standard. Just like how we were discussing earlier in terms of how to like the best practices, which I was explaining that we should use a recovery option. So this is the recovery option. What's like at least we have a maximum of 90 days to secure our key vote. You can actually kind of modify it, kind of put 100 and all of that, but I believe it's just 90 days. Your retention policy should be 90 days. You could see the error is like you must have between 7 days to 90 days. So just for the purpose of this class, I could just let's just leave it to like 30 days. So for this purge protection, we're just going to leave it in the default one, disable port protection that allow key vote and object to be purged during retention policy. So we're just going to go with this. Go to the next. So in terms of remember what we were discussing about permissions, we discussed access. You shouldn't just give anyone access to your keyboard. This is where you can actually control the access. If you can either use RBAC, which is rollback access police, you can actually use your RBAC and you can actually use your key votes access policy. So for now, we're going to use like our RBAC. Like our RBAC, we use our RBAC and you can pick any resource access. You can actually pick virtual machine, just any. So this as these resources will be able to that your virtual machine will be able to access your key votes. And actually we have like resource manager template. You can just based on what you want, you can click on any of them. For the networking, we're actually going to leave it all network. We're not restricting any network. We're not going to use like a private endpoint. We're just going to use the default one we're giving here. We're not configuring any network, any private endpoint and all of that. Tags, if you like, you can put a tag like which this key vault you're creating is for which for each for which set of people. You could just give it a tag, just give it a label to easily identify the resources. So I'll just give it the label like, oh, the tag will be for department. It's going to be for an IT. The department will be for IT. This tag is being created for the IT department. Okay, so we need to like click on create. So our deployment is in progress. While it's creating, we could just go back to, okay, it has finished creating. So we just can go back to our resources to just see how our secret looks like. So this is a key vote. We have like activity log. We have access control, who you're to give access from here. You when you click on your I am, you'll be able to give either a manage identity, or you can give user identity. You can give access. We have tags, diagnosis and problem, access policy, events, and all of that. We have our keys, secrets, certificate. So these are the things you can actually store. Let's click on the key. We don't really have a key. Let's see if we can just create a random key. Oh, let's see. Let's say imports. Oh, I don't really have like a key which I would like to import. So let's just look at the interface and just go out of this. So assuming we have a key, all I could just is to pick up, upload my key, put the key name, what format, the ZRSA, then select like an activation date and when it's going to expire and all of that. So that is for key. If you can upload a key, you can, let's see, we can generate a key now. So since we don't have a key to upload, we can actually generate a key. Let's give it a name, probably keygen. We leave it at the default, which is RSA. The key size 2048. Do we need to set? Let's just set like expiration date for this key. Activation date, which is 441 here. Let's pick expiring dates. We can pick like it's going to expire like by 6 p.m. We're going to enable this key, so just click yes. we not let's make it immutable, or we just leave it that way, just leave it default. Let's see the confidential policy. There's no drop down coming out. Okay, so let's just try to create this key and see. Okay, so we encounter an error. Let's just take a look and see what the error is. Um, the operation is not allowed by RBAC. Okay, so it's like we're just going to like create an RBAC, like a contributor role to allow us to kind of be able to generate a key. Caller is not authorized to perform action on resources. Role assignment. Okay, I think let's just go. Decision. Okay, it's still talking about our RBAC, real access control. So let's check our IAN and see. But before that, we've seen how the key looks like. Let's just go to secret and see how a secret looks like. So our secret, we could just create like a certificate. We can upload the certificate, give it a name and the expiration date and all of that. I think this certificate is the secret is a bit easier than the key. Let's go to certificate. So we have like two types of certificate authority, which is integrated CK and non-integrated CK. PK, or we could actually create a pen. So, in a nutshell, like creating a secret keys and certificate is it's pretty easy. It's something we can do even after this class. Let me just go to the iron and see. So let's check for our real assignment. Okay, so I can actually see just one person here. Okay, let's see if we can. I don't. Hold on. Row. Let's see our row. Okay, let's. I think we just need to like create like a contributor row, but let's just look at other row we have here. We have Key Vault Administrator, which perform data playing operation on a key vault and no objects. Oh, Remember why we were kind of talking about best practices. Um, Not everyone needs to be given a contributor role. We could give some people a reader role depending on what they actually want to do. You can't give everybody a contributor role. You can't give everybody administrator role. We can just give that role based on what's or based on the job description, like the job, what they actually want to do. Let's just pick contributor role here. Let me see. I should add role. Let me see. Or let's pick like a key vault contributor and see if we want to pick a normal contributor. We can just go to privilege administrator and pick a contributor. Or let's go based on job function. We can just pick this key vault contributor. This might not still be enough. Let you manage key vault but not access to them. Let's just pick that. Next. So we're going to determine where to use the manage identity or user. So we're just going to use like a user. For a manage identity, I don't have any resources I want to assign a key vault to. Or let's just click on manage identity, but service. Let's see how it goes. No member selected. Let's go back. I could just give this to virtual machine. Select for the only virtual machine we have, which is this. So we're going to pick this and assign a key vault to read. Select. So we're going to go to next. Click next. We need to just click review and assign. So that's it about assigning a role to your key vote. So what we just did now was just like assigning a manage identity role, like a contributor role. We did that of key vote contributor role to our virtual machine. Let me go back to um slide again. We have actually created a key vote via the Azure portal. Before the end of the class, we're going to create a key vote via the CLI. So we're going to talk about how to implement manage identity. So by the end of the class, we should explain the difference between the two types of identity, user identity and manage identity. So in terms of identity, we have like two types of identity. We have a system managed identity and we have a user managed identity. So a system manage identity is a system that's going to manage the identity for you, just like how what you put, just like what I just did. You saw now. I wanted my virtual machine to be able to have access to my key votes. So my virtual machine is an example of a managed identity. It's not human. Then the second one, which is user identity, is human, which even to assign a role. Remember, you can assign the same role, but when you're assigning the role, you can actually pick either a managed identity. Are you kind of giving this permission to manage identity, like your devices, your applications, and all of that, or you want to give it to humans like users that you know, users that you have, you can actually use that. So, in terms of manage identity, bear it in mind we have two types of manage identity, which is user manage identity and system manage identity. So let's try to compare the both. In terms of creation, a managed identity, we can create some resources as a managed identity, just like, for example, if you have your app service, you have your AKS, you have your virtual machine, storage account, all of that, they are examples of managed identity. Resources generally tend to be a managed identity, while users happens to be like user assigned managed identity. Users can be just like humans that you have under your subscription, or you can add some users to your subscription. They are just human. So this is user assigned managed identity. So let's try to like look at the life cycle of this identity. So in terms of the life cycle of managed identity, so in sense, if you create the resources, which is called the parent resources, if it is deleted, then that resources the child is as well deleted. Let's say, for example, now, remember I just gave access to my virtual machine to be able to like the key vote to be able to have access to my virtual machine. If I delete if I delete my virtual machine, automatically, let's say the virtual machine will be our parent now. If I delete the virtual machine, then the managed identity, which is my virtual machine, and the key vote, it's equally like it will not be in existence anymore. Like it won't kind of function. For example, if I delete the key votes, the managed identity, the virtual machine that assigned a managed identity role to will cease to exist even if I don't delete my virtual machine. But since that key vote is not there for the virtual machine to function, it's not going to work. But in terms of user assigned managed identity, they are like independent of its own. If you delete one, it doesn't kind of affect the other. That's the difference between the user managed identity and system managed identity. So let's look at their sharing across Azure resources. So in terms of system managed identity, we cannot share. It cannot be shared. Resources cannot be shared. But in terms of user managed identity, it can be shared. So the same user can manage different resources. That is just it. Like, so for example, I give myself like okay, I have like a user called Chibuzo. I can just give that user an access to my virtual machine. The same thing, that user can equally have access to my storage account and all of that. The same user, I can give that user different permission, which the user can manage different applications, different resources. But in terms of system manage, it's not like that. So these are just a characteristic of managed identity, creation, life cycles, and sharing. So in terms of creation, the system managed identity is created as part of the resources. But in terms of user identity, it is a standalone life cycle. Once you delete the parent, the child goes as well. But in terms of user managed, it is independent of its own. Then in terms of sharing access, in terms of sharing Azure resources, the resources cannot be shared for in terms of system managed. But when it comes to user managed, yes, it can be shared. So let's just go a little bit deeper about our managed identity. You could ask, what is managed identity? When do we really kind of need to use it? So looking at this picture, I want to build an application. So these are the resources, these are the source. This is source, this is target. When you want to build an application, let's say like your virtual machine, your app service, your container, your functions, function app, your storage account or AKS, any name it, any resources you want to build. And the resources you want to build, you want it to as well to access, which is we have source and we have targets. So the target could be that any target that can support Azure Active Directory authentication. So you have like your application. If you want what you are building, your virtual machine, you want it to support your Active Directory. Like if you want to authenticate via Active Directory, all your resources you have kind of built, if you actually wanted to kind of either use Active Directory to authenticate or use either use majorly Active Directory to authenticate, then you know that you can use your managed identity. So in a nutshell, what we're trying to say is that for managed identity, be it user or be it a user identity or system identity, you can actually, these are the scenarios where you can use manage identity. If you want your applications, if you want your application to be able to access if you want your application to be able to access AD, you can actually use manage identity. So on your behalf, manage identity can access your resources on your behalf. Let's say, for example, you want your virtual machine to kind of access your key vote, or either your storage account to access your key vote. So these are the scenarios where you can actually use managed identity. So the essence of it is just for you. It's just to help you to authenticate your services that support Azure Active Directory. It helps you to your managed identity help you to authenticate services that you use, the services that can support your AD. Azure manage identity can help you do that. So let's quickly take a look at managed identity workflow. So you could be wondering how a system managed identity work with an Azure virtual machine. So first of all, you have like ARM. So with your ARM, let's say your ARM, you could receive a request to enable your system managed identity on the virtual machine. On your ARM, you can now create like service principal in Azure Directory to allow the identity of the virtual machine. Then the third one could be Azure. You can configure your ARM. You can configure the identity of a virtual machine. How do you do that? By updating your virtual machine metadata service identity endpoint with your service principal client ID and certificate. So once you've given like the virtual machine an identity, the next thing is to use your service principal information to grant um, that virtual machine an access. The fifth one is just going to be like your code. Your code should be running on the virtual machine. That's your code that is running on the virtual machine can like request a token from an Azure instant metadata endpoint and equally be accessible only from the virtual machine. Then the sixth one will be like you're making a call to Azure Active Directory and you're requesting a token. We are requesting a token using the client ID certificate configured and Azure Directory to return your JSON token access. Then the seventh workflow will be your code will send access token to the caller to a service that supports Azure Active Directory. So these are just the workflow. So for this is just a managed identity. For user identity, for user assigned identity, the workflow equally goes the same way with managed identity. Here we are to configure manage identity. So in terms of system manage identity, we are to create and enable Azure Virtual Machine with the system manage identity of your account, which is like your virtual machine, and you actually need a contributor role for you to do the assignments. Like we told, if we can see the slide, it says no AD role assignment is required in terms of this system managed identity. But let's see for user assigned managed identity. You have to create a user assigned identity using your AZ identity create. Like you create, for example, when you first do your AZ login and all of that, you can just use the command to create your another command to create your AD identity. When you create your user assigned identity, you need to assign an identity to the virtual machine. So with that, you have to now create like a new user assigned identity. So this is how to kind of create like how to configure manage identity. We have to enable system identity. This is your if you're to just use the CLI, this is your code or your script. All you need to do is to do azvm create resource group. You have to put your resource group, the name of the VM, and your image. This is Windows 2016 data center. You can actually use another image other than that. You can use 2011, 2010, or 2008. Oh, probably let's go. You can use just 2011, 2010, and all of that, 2016. So it's going to generate an SS key and assign manage identity. So for the assign manage identity, you're going to use assign manage identity. The username is admin user and the password, this is it. This is for when you're trying to create the resources. So this stuff can help you create like a resources. First of all create a resource group for you and created a virtual machine for you. So now enable user assign identity during resource creation. So when you're trying to create a resources that you know that is a user that is going to manage this identity, what you need to do is just like create the identity first, like exit identity create the resource group and the user. Then you need to try to create the all you need to do again is just to go forward and create the VM. So for system manage, as you're creating the resources, everything is embedded into it. But for user manage, you have to first of all create the identity of the user first, before you go and create your virtual machine for the user to be able to make use of this virtual machine. In terms of configuring of manage identity, we can actually use our SDK, software development kits. We can use .NET, we can use Java, we can use Node.js, we can use Python, we can use Ruby. So these are the supported programming and platform we can use our SDK with. If you would like to acquire like an access token, what you need to do, this is just the way to, this is the code for us to use to acquire an access token, which is, this is it, your string, your var, user assigned client ID, the credentials. So this is just what we can use if we want to like deploy an Azure host credential and for us to authenticate and manage identity. That is off in terms of manage identity. So let's just go quickly to implementing Azure app configuration. So by the end of this discussion, we should be able to like explain the benefit of using app configuration. We need to describe app configuration, like store. We need to describe the configuration and how we store the information and all of that. So application configuration, the benefits, what are the benefits of us trying to like configure our application? So one of the benefits that you can easily set this within a minute, and you can easily like use tagging, native like it's native integration, and you can use some popular framework. So these are the benefits. Another benefit is it enhances security through our managed identity, and as well like you have like a UI where you see this feature, this flag managed. You just have a UI, and as it's flexible, you can actually map it. So these are just a few examples. Benefits of using application configuration. How do we now implement this application? What we need to do is to centralize the management, and another one is to dynamically change the application settings, and the third one is to control future availability in real time. So if we want to like explore the app configuration, what we need to do is to add our app configuration and to store the application through client library. And the popular framework for this is .NET. We have ASP.NET. We have framework. We have .NET framework, ASP and ASP. ASP.NET, we have Java, Spring, and we have like others. So for the ASP, for .NET Core and ASP Core, ASP.NET Core, we can connect by using an app configuration provider for our .NET Core. For .NET Framework and ASP.NET, we can actually use app configuration builder for .NET. For Java Spring, we can use our client cloud. In terms of the other means, we can actually use like REST API. So in terms of key and values, for keys are designed like we design key namespace. So we have like flat or hierarchy. Then in terms of label keys, we have key label in application can be automatically or optionally have like a label attribute, and it has like a version key value. App configuration does not version key value automatically as they are modified. So automatically you shouldn't expect it to kind of have auto versioning. So if you're trying to query the key, have it in mind that they have like a unified identifier. In terms of values like we can assign keys to Unicode streams. We can equally like in terms of configuration, the data are stored in the app. Configuration stores also like the key value. Your key value that you're configuring is encrypted at rest and also in transit. So you don't need to be scared. They are all secured. Okay. In terms of our managed application future, we have like that's for best practices. We have like basic concept like future flag. So for a future flag, we are kind of meant to like state it on or off. For your future flag, you can have like on or off. Then future manager, your future manager kind of like handle the life cycles. And in terms of filter, the filter kind of help in evaluating the state of the future flag. Components that implement effective future management, which the components are an application usually make use of future flag and also a separate repository to store your future flag and their current states. So how do we like manage our application features? So feature flag declaration. Each feature should have like two parts, like a name and a list of one or two filter that you can use to evaluate the future states. And the second one it should be that when a feature flag has a multiple feature, the feature list transverse in order until one of the filter determine the future should be enabled. Then the future manage supports app setting.json as a configuration source to future flags. Now let's talk about future flag repository. So we're going to, in terms of future flag repository, so to use this future flag repository effectively, all you need to do is to externalize all the future flag in an application. And also the application configuration should be designed to be able to centralize your repository for your future flag. We have secured app application data. Um, so we are told to like we need to like configure, encrypt our data by using customer managed key. So to enable customer managed key capacity, we can use standard tier Azure configuration instance, and we can use Azure Key Vault with soft delete, of course, and port protection to be enabled. And we either use in terms of you either use SRA or RSA, or you use RSA HSM with the key vote. So these are just like a way of you trying to, like, if you're using a manage key, how you can encrypt all of this. Allowed Azure application configuration to use key vote. So when you are aligning an Azure application to use key vault, all you need to do is to assign the managed identity to the Azure application instance. And equally, you need to grant the identity permission in the target key vault access policy. For in terms of if you would like the component that's kind of, if you want to enable customer manage identity key, is one of the components is that you have to have like a standard tier application configuration, and Azure Key Vault with your soft delete. You can equally have like an RSA. These are just what we just discussed. These are it. So these are the components that are required when you want to successfully. If you like, oh, you don't want you want to use your own manage key, all you need to put in place is that first of all you need to have like a standard app configuration instance, and you need to have like your key vote must have a soft delete. Not just having a soft delete, it will equally have like a purge protection, and also it must have like RSA or RSA HSM. Then on the other hand, when you assign a managed identity to the app configuration, you need to grant it identity permission. It needs permission. So that is it about you trying to like secure your application. If you said, "Oh, I would like to use my own personal customer key," as a customer, you have your own key. Okay, for you to effectively like securely use this key, these are the things you need to put in mind. So if you like to just use like a private endpoint, all you need to do is when you're using a private endpoint and manage identity, first of all, what you need to do is to secure your application by configuring a firewall. You need a firewall. You know, a firewall will help you to block other connections. And you need to like increase your security via the VNet. You need your security to be increased. And as well, you need to kind of connect to the app from your on-premises and network to your VNet by using like an express route. So in terms of manage identity now, remember the first one we just talked about is endpoint. So if you want to use like a manage identity, remember when I was trying to create a key vote, this option came out whereby you can, in terms of underneath and networking, you have like using endpoints or using manage identity. And we just left the endpoint. We just want to use like a default. So if you're kind of going to use like a manage identity, you know that the identity is kind of generally tied to your configuration store. And And if you delete your manage identity, you know that totally your store is already deleted as well. So we need to bear in mind that our configuration store will just have just one assigned identity. Then a user assigned identity, is usually a standalone. So since it's a standalone, you can use like a configuration store that have like a multiple user endpoint. So that's it. Let's just go. That's the end of our topic. Let's quickly go to create our. Let me just show you how to enable manage identity when you have like your app service. We can actually try to create our CLI, like creating a manager identity via CLI. Let me see. I actually gave this is still showing no key. So what you need to do is just go to your app service. When you go to your app service, just click on the name of your app service. Mine is called Plenty Money. And we can just try to like enable either manage identity or user identity. So once you go to your app service, once you go to your app service, just click on identity. Just click on your identity. So you can see we have system assigned and we have user assigned. Let's start with the user assigned. So with the system assigned, right now my system assigned identity is enabled. You can actually so since it's enabled, this is what you're going to use. This is the screen you're just going to use if you need to use identity on this app service. Or if let me turn it off. So it's that simple. If you just want to ensure that your app service is one should use a user managed identity, just come to the app service under identity, click on under identity. Once you click on under identity, what you're just going to do is to put it on. Right now it is off, it's showing off. So for us to enable user identity, we can just click on putting it on. And once you click on, you just need to like save. And that is just as simple as that, how to just enable manage identity. In terms of user identity, you need to add a user. So what we need to do is to either click here to add a user, or you come down here to add a user assigned manage identity. So click here. We have to look for the user want to give this to user. In terms of user, let me see. I don't have anyone there. So I didn't put any user. Let me see if let's go to I am first and see. Sure. View access. So let's just try to like let's check the row and see if um we can assign any row. We have like log analytic, manage application and all of that. Let's pick this and just see. So this is just going to explain all the roles you have. You can't use this role from here. It's just telling you these are the roles you have and what it's for. When you have a contributor, definitely it helps you to manage. It gives you, it means you're given the full access for it to manage your resources. So let's check, let's add like a role, add role assignment. Let's see a built-in role. We are in app service. What we need to do is, let me see, manage app application or monitoring contributor. So let's use this manage application contributor. We click next. You remember we are just going to use user assigned role. So we just click on user. Let's look for if we can see any member. So let me see. Most of these users are not really. Let me just pick select. We go to next and click assignment and create. So our user is created. Let's go to our manage identity. Let's go to our identity and see if this user will be able to show up in under user assign. Let's click add. You're picking our subscription. Let's see assign manage. No, we're not using assign. Let me see. User assigned. Yep. Actually, it's supposed to be like a drop down. It should show the user. I don't know, probably it's not synced. Just like how I picked the users when I was trying to create a contributor, app manage contributor. I have to pick. I don't even need to put like type in name. It says that it needs to sync for it to like see the user. So this is just a way of trying to assign a user managed identity. For the system managed identity, is pretty simple. All you just need to do is click on, once you click on manage identity, a principal ID will be generated for you, which you can use to authenticate. So let's just go to our time is um gone. So well, let's just create our manage identity via the CLI before we wrap up. Sorry. So just come here and click your CLI. So remember you can actually use your VS Code to, if you have your VS Code and you can do your AZ login and log in through your VS Code. If you don't want to use this CLI here, you can use your VS Code. You can install Azure CLI on your VS Code and use. So first of all, we need to create a resource group. I would just like to create a resource group on this. This is just the code to use. Let me see, West Europe. So my resource group name will be AZ204, and I'm going to create it in West Europe. So let's just wait for it to create. Oh, sorry, I didn't click on enter. So now our resource group is create AZ 204. If you want to see it, if you are this person that likes the GUI, just click on RG, like your resource group. So on your resource group, you could actually see the resource group we just created. Let's create our key votes. So all we need to do is to create our key vote. So let's just give it this name, Sweet Secret. Let's not forget the thing, West Europe. Our resource group is AZ04 204. Sorry. So I'm just going to spell the secret this way so that they won't say the name is already taken. So we'll just leave the spelling this way. So this was the secret. This was the resource group we created by the CLI. 204. Let me see. 204 is in resource group. It's in the subscription. Probably we need to refresh. Yeah, so this is it. 204. Oh, sorry, I actually kind of shifted the location tag, the space within the location tag closer, so it's giving an error. Let it come up. Just trying to press my up arrow so I could correct the issue, but I think it's not going to. So I'll just copy back again. So our secret is being created. The next thing we need to do is to retrieve like a secret. Like we need to retrieve our secret, like a secret from our key vault. What we need to do now, I need to like create easy secret, then a password and our vote name. So I'm just going to modify this. So our vote name was Sweet Secret, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry. Sweet Secret. We just decided to spell it this way. Mm, okay, so our password will be Azure at 204. I hope this is long enough. Value, I don't know. Let's try this value, or it should call the value, but let's try this out. Okay, let me see this. The request URI contain an invalid name. Oh, let's see. Vote name. Let me go back. Vote secret show dash dash name. Oh, sorry. Actually thought that should be password. Let's see. Okay, sweet secret. Man, it's giving another. A secret with name on ID was not found in the key votes. Okay, let's see key votes. Let me go back. Okay, looking at this code, is it secret show name? So I believe this is the name of the secret. Okay, key vote name. Let's just. Well, it's actually going to complain about. Um, let's see. This is just. Let's put the key vote name. I'm just going to leave this name example password here, and let's see. And this valued. Let me just leave this way. And see what's going to happen. See, giving a secret with username example password was not found in the key vault if you recently delete this. I think it's still just it's okay. The secret with sweet secret was not found. Um okay, let's just try to add a secret first. I think that's where I'm making a mistake. I'm gonna copy this. We need to add a secret first before we retrieve the secret. So my keyboard's name, put it here. Sorry guys, we'll soon close. Sweet secret. So now my that's the name of the secret, then the keywords. Okay, let me just give it uh, dev 204 as sorry. Dev 204 as the name of our votes and the name of our secret. Then the value is just going to be this value here. Let's, I don't know if I should remove the, let's just leave it this way and see. Perfect. So our secret is created. We need to just go and retrieve our secrets. So now we'll just go and retrieve the secrets. Oh my God. Sorry again. Retrieving my secret show. Yeah, so the name of my secret, which is dev 204. So let's this is our secret. Remember when I created from the portal, then we were trying to add a secret and I was having like an error back issue. So with creating our key vault via the CLI, we're able to create a key vault, and we're able to kind of create a secret and retrieve the secret. So let's go to the portal and actually see this. Click on votes. Now this is the vote we created by the CLI. This is it. Let's go under secret to see the secret we created. So this is our secrets. Our secret is dev 204. So we remember that we were able to retrieve the secret. So this is just a version of our secret. That is all for today, guys. Thank you so much for your valuable time showing up in this session today. Thank you. Hi, Roland. We cannot hear you in case you're speaking. I don't think I can hear from
Oh,
my
can you
end.
hear me now?
Sure, yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, apologies for that. So thank you so much for the session. It's been an educative session so far, and I believe the audience have one or two things that they have learned. So the video will be available on our YouTube channel. So if you need to rewind, it's always available. So this session is streamed on YouTube and on our LinkedIn page, right? So you can follow us on all our social media platforms to get information, right, on all our upcoming session. So tomorrow we'll be having the Linux study series. So endeavor to join. And I want to use this opportunity to say a big thank you to all the community members that have been part of this session so far, and our wonderful speaker for today.
Thank
She's
you.
she's done an amazing job. Thank you so much on behalf of the community.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, it's always an honor to have you with us. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hi, guys. Thank you. Yeah.
So we call it a day. So join us tomorrow, 3 p.m. for the Linux study series. Cheers.
Bye.